Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Sales Cavazos here. I'm Anthony.
I'm Casey.
And today we're watching episode 21 of season 3 of Attack on Titan. Last two
Oh my
left.
gosh.
Yes.
Crazy, we're already here.
Last episode.
That was a lot.
It was a lot of information.
There was a lot to process. And
I feel like we're piecing it together though.
Yeah, I feel like we might have missed a little bit even though they probably told us. And that's just because we haven't gone back to rewatch it yet because we're trying to finish right now. Oh my gosh, sorry,
Yeah.
I get excited. But I feel like, when you get a lot of information dumped at you all at once when you're not expecting it, you're kind of like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
I think the part that we're the most confused about is how it was, the founding Titan and then the 9 others, which I think we're kind of piecing that together. But then the question is, why do they care so much about the people in the walls if they seem insignificant? And that's, I guess maybe that they don't care and that's the point. But they broke down the walls. But it almost seems like the people who are living in these walls are just kind of insignificant in this whole story.
I feel like it's kind of like maybe there's some people who don't have the same beliefs as their people. Which when I say their people, what are the two names of the two people again?
Marlians?
And the
Eldians?
Eldians. Okay, so the Eldians, they either are complacent with their situation or their people situation, because obviously the Rice family, it was that descendant down, passing down that power, so they know
who closed up the walls and built the walls and kind of sheltered themselves in with basically hiding the founding Titan power. I feel like was really the key,
which we think that the founding power, it was hiding the founding power, but then also Zeke was after getting the founding power, and then also since Reina and Bertolt were working with him, they came after the founding power. I'm actually just piecing this together right now. I had a different thought I was actually going to think about. But this one actually makes sense to me. If they were going after that power first, but then Eren's father got it first. And then that's when he gave it to Eren.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe he's entrusting Eren to kind of restore what it was before, where they were it was helpful to them, or I guess restore their people back to where they were instead of them being kind of oppressed here.
Which also the owl looked like Eren's Titan to me. We only saw a quick brief little moment when he picked up the ship.
So I don't know if we're gonna get any more information about that, or if that's kind of gonna be dived into more next season.
I feel like there's gonna get more into fixing everything. I don't say fixing everything, but restoring balance to the world.
Balance to the force. But then I'm a little bit confused about that too, because the reason that they don't like the Eldians, I guess, is because they had this Titan ability. And they would, I guess, attack the Marlians, but that's still a little bit confusing to me. Yeah. So I'm not sure, and I feel like I need a history lesson
of this world
because I'm freaking confused. But I'm excited, and that was a cool reveal. A lot more things make sense now. We've seen Titans that we know how these new Titans keep coming in. They're people being sent to exile.
It's like their punishment.
It's like a prison island, essentially.
So maybe it was just the Rice family protecting the people who are already dealing with this. That's maybe why the walls got erected in the first place. And then now it's just instead of making a move to go against the other people, it's just at least giving these people some semblance of a life. As opposed to them just being on Titans.
Okay, so because nobody knows except for the person who has the founding power. Remember, because they get the memories and they're like, oh, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
So right now nobody knows, and you have to have the Rice bloodline to know. So nobody literally knows right now.
Yeah.
But then they said every time the person got it, like Yuri, I think his name was, he said he understood it, but they keep saying that they can't do anything about the Titans. There was a reason that the king put it in place, the first founding king put it in place in the first place. But why? Is it to protect themselves? Specifically the Rice family, to protect them and the people don't matter? Yeah. Is that what it is?
I feel like there's so much, and I feel like that really getting into the psychology of the Rice family, which I don't know if Eren's going to be able to tap into that at some point to really understand what their motivations were, because that's kind of where we're harping on is that why didn't they make a move in these 100 years or however long that this actually continued on?
Sat there.
Yeah, and then just allowed it to be. But it's always just the one, though. So it's just it's like you said, it's the one person who has the power who's okay, we should.
Frida,
this should be the way it is now, and I shouldn't try to make a move to have these people uprise. But they
don't. It just really boils down to the fact that it doesn't seem like they care about the people in the walls.
Maybe.
And I mean, that's obviously really sad, because that's who we've been focusing on, and just sad in general, but that kind of, it's almost like they're just kind of there, like, they're like meat shields.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Like, it's like maybe that they have, like, an idea about themselves and, like, the people as a whole, but, like, people fractioning off and, like, these people dying, a few people there, that didn't really matter as much. But, like, I guess just preserving, like, their bloodline and then also preserving, I guess, some of the family or some of the people.
It might just be the family's bloodline is all they care about and literally don't care about anyone else.
Yeah. Maybe, like, this whole, like, when the walls got erected were just to preserve that from getting taken from these other people, and that's what this all is about.
And, like, literally the people in the wall are, like I said, just like meat shields. And you have to keep a semblance of fear in them, or else they're going to try to leave.
Because if you told them the truth, then you wouldn't have any protection either. And they would, there'd be an uprising. Some people would probably go crazy because telling anybody that your world is a complete lie is, like, going to have, at least some fraction of the population just not be able to handle it.
I think that's what it is. But then that doesn't explain, like, why are there people like the Ackermans in there? Well, I guess
what was up with their
they were, like, bodyguards to them, so maybe they were for protection. Yeah. But then there's, like, these other people who, maybe at the time, it was these 9.
Yeah. And they protected...
but then they're not Titans, though. Maybe it was just, like, at the time they had people surrounding them, and then at some point they didn't agree. Well, because remember they said that's, like, the Ackermans and then, like, the Eastern family bloodline didn't agree, and then that's, like... I don't know. We should just watch it.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get answers as we go along.
From his memories?
What the fuck?
What about them?
Oh my gosh.
Is that why he, like, kind of took to Mikasa and Armin?
Maybe, like, it just keeps
maybe
passing.
Maybe they're of a bloodline. Well, Mikasa's from the Eastern one. We know this. But they're all subjects of Ymir.
Yeah.
So they're all from, like, the same race, but different bloodlines.
Levi was really smart to stab Armin.
I know.
He's gonna play more of a role into this. If that wasn't already the role he was supposed to play, but, like, I feel like there's more to it now.
So that makes more sense. So all the people in the walls are the subjects of Ymir, which makes sense as to why they want to keep them in the walls, because, the Marleyans don't like them. Obviously, they're afraid of them. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to keep them down because they never wanted them to overthrow. And also, it really seems like this king was just like a pushover.
He was tired of fighting, possibly. And he's like, I'm just going to keep these people safe and tell them that they live in this world where this is all they have and everything else in the world is destroyed.
Because, in theory, the walls did work. It was only when attacks from outside came in is when they would get Titan attacks.
And he said, like, there was peace for a time.
Because, it was, but then when these people from probably, the mainland, I guess, came in, that's when they had problems. But before that, the walls were protecting them.
So, do you think, like, Zeke is, like, a commander of, like, a regiment that's for those other people, and that Bertolt and, like, Rhino were working for him in that?
Because they wanted to destroy...
Those are powers possibly that they've already attained from other, like, people.
That they stole,
and now they're just going for the Founder's power.
Yeah, it seems like it, and they wanted to wipe them out, it seemed. Because remember he said our mission was to wipe out, but that changed for whatever reason. Not sure why.
Yeah.
But also, it's kind of sad because this king was supposed to be protecting his people, but in turn he stole their memories just to control them and made them live a really horrific life.
I know. And all these people who have been killed along the way, like, what could have happened if they had just made the choice to rise up for themselves and not just, like, be subjugated to, like, your idea of what their life should be now, because this is all that they had when they could, have a revolution in a sense and, like, take it back and, like, not be oppressed and, like, ignorance is bliss for some people, but not for all others.
That's crazy. This is really, really getting
I
interesting.
never knew that this story was going to be as deep as it was. Like, especially even when we first started it, it's just like, I was like, okay, what are these Titans about? We're living in, like, this world where everything's destroyed, and, like, no, it wasn't. Like, it's so much deeper than this.
And there's some sort of connecting force, connecting all of these subjects of Ymir, I guess that's what they're called. But then I'm kind of just like, what does that necessarily mean? Like, because the Ymir was the first one. Like, are these her direct descendants? Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. And also, Ymir, the Ymir we know, Krista's Ymir, sent her the letter, and then, like, she had that shock, and then we saw a vision almost of her, like, in the thing, almost like she was giving the power. I'm like, is this the Ymir? That doesn't make any sense. She wouldn't have had that much time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're going to get back to that, though, because there was, like, that moment that Historia, we're just like, oh, something happened. And then also now, Eren at least is going on the idea that it's possible that he can have this power while he's touching, like, someone of royal blood, which... That's just so crazy that, like, I know we talked about in the last episode, we got revealed in the last episode, about his dad's first wife.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so crazy that she's, like, out there.
Oh my gosh, what if Armin and Mikasa are of royal blood?
Possibly.
And what if he touches Armin and he could do it?
I don't know. I don't know how.
Because why would he say their names? Protect, or find... Did he say protect or find?
I think he said protect.
Mikasa and Armin, like, and he didn't even know it was from his memories. Like, who are they?
What are they in conjunction to this story?
And then also, I was thinking about Ymir, when we first saw her storyline, remember we saw her getting pushed off the wall, but before that, she was almost getting worshipped. It's almost like that was the people from the mainland.
Yeah, and
they probably found her and was like, oh, are you of the blood? And they probably
and then
were
they got, like,
worshiping
raided, and then they took her, and then they threw her off the wall.
Didn't they give her... Wait a second. Didn't they give her the new name of Ymir?
They named her after her, maybe.
I think they did so they could worship her like Ymir over there. Because they probably were, like, the bloodline, and that's why they all got raided and then thrown off the wall, like, punishment.
Yeah, that's
makes more sense. That's gotta be it.
So things just make so much sense now. Like, the enemy are these Marleyans, and they've been oppressing these people for so long, and, their king, the Rice family, or, the descendants of that king, but still kind of his will of what he wanted.
Retain the will of the king.
Which was to, like, threaten the Marleyans with the fact that they would attack, but like, not actually do it, and just have his people believe that they were living in the only world that there was left. Now, whether that is to have them live in their quote-unquote paradise, which obviously wasn't really a paradise, or was it to just protect, like, the power too in conjunction with that? Because we obviously saw that scene with Eren's father pleading to them to, like, do something, and they didn't. They were following the will of the original king, not to fight back. And that's obviously why Eren's father took it. Yeah. So... we haven't got our answers yet to why Mikasa and Armin are so important to this, and I feel like that's going to play out in the next season. I feel like, we might find out more about their families, possibly.
Yeah, maybe their lineage has something to do. It's kind of sad to think that they only have, like, 13 years to live after their Titans.
Well, Mikasa was hopefully saying that, that wasn't the case. From what we've seen is that, they've passed down the power before they ever could. So what if it was just they lost their power and then, another person was born with that power later on? I mean, that's kind of like our hope so that Armin and Eren don't die at some point. We'll see. I guess that's going to really play out in the next season. I feel like they're definitely going to have to do it because that's the final season. So we're going to get all our answers. So.
And next season, I feel like that's when they're going to go to war with these other people. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be
the
really
whole story is completely gonna flip now. It's like not even a discovery story anymore. Now it's like let's like take back our power type. Not take back our power, but let's take back. Like, let's take freedom. Like really,
not be stuck in these walls, subjected to
and then just have the Titans that come for you, just people that are of your same race that are just like being thrown in here by other people.
That really puts a perspective on the Titans. It's really sad. They were just like subjected to a life sentence, just to roam. Oh, it's crazy. Wow. This story was amazing.
Yeah, I never thought it would ever be like this deep of a story, and I was just like so like it makes me really want to watch it from beginning to end again, knowing what you know, and then just kind of see all the hints that you missed along the way. Because I remember there being comments about some people just making comments. I was like, that's weird. Like what does that really mean? Yeah. Like I can't even pinpoint anything specifically, but I remember just being constantly confused by some like just statements made by Rhina, Bertolt, and other people. And now like I need to rewatch it all, like and really just see like what the hell did we miss, and like it's funny like connect the dots.
Yeah. Crazy. And there's still so many unanswered questions that I feel like we're going to explore next season. Can't wait. Next season so soon. And we're going to actually be like able to do it live, which is really awesome and exciting. So,
I'm also hoping, one of the things that I'm hoping for in the next season is that Mikasa finally tells Eren how she truly feels about him. They've always shown Mikasa's like her love for him, but like she hasn't been vocal about it. It's always more been a protective type of sense. So I'm hoping that they can actually have a relationship in some form or fashion in the next season, and I'm hoping that that Eren doesn't have like time limits for when he's going to like die.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can stay notified for all of our future videos. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.